I just want to give a public service announcement from Kirby and I. Hey, just because you don't understand the global supply chain distributors, stop screaming at suppliers. They know they're out of stock. They feel bad about it. Yelling at them doesn't make the stock magically appear. Okay? Okay. Welcome to episode number 46 of the Promo UPFront Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the Sergeant of Cybersecurity, the Field General of Graduation himself, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I feel like things are starting to roll, and I'm just you know how and I'm sure this is the case with you. Like there are probably times where you and Sandy are just getting along well, and then sometimes that it isn't as glorified as a marriage. And Amy and I are getting along, and that always makes my life so much better. And so, yeah, I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, I always get along with everybody I come in contact with, Kirby, because my mommy told me I was a delight. So let's remember that. But you know what else is a delight, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
I don't know if you're familiar with this. Actually, I know you are. But anyway, let's pretend you don't know. Are you familiar with AMP? A-M-P, AMP from our good pals over at Promo Pulse. I know you are. This is something we've been teasing for a couple of weeks here on this very broadcast. What you can do is use AMP to set up beautiful and user-friendly email to your customers using content from your preferred suppliers. This thing is so easy, like 5 minutes easy.
Yeah, it is.
You pick your suppliers. You upload your logo and your list. You customize your email and a landing page with the logo and contact information. You set your sending frequency up to once a week. A distributor can literally set it and forget it. On the retail, and it's got a really slick retail look on the email. One distributor remarked, it's like Nordstrom's. Kirby, I know you're getting results. Tell us a little bit about your experience with AMP.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I have a great relationship with Jason. And so I was a part of sort of the beta group as a distributor. And in the interest of transparency, I already send out weekly emails. So, right. But mine are very much more content driven. And so Jason sets this up. You're exactly right. It looks beautiful. It's totally different than what I'm doing. And what I love is that because it's like that, clients then have the ability to like comment on it and reply. And so I'm getting leads from it. I got a reply the other day just saying, hey, I don't have a need for this now, but please make note that the next time we do a promotion, I want to talk about this item, which is kind of a cool thing to just plan. And then it was hilarious. I got a Snapchat about it from a client. They took a picture of the email and said, you guys are marketing folks are geniuses. And it was actually about the Oregadio sauce tray or whatever. But it's creating a conversation around products that I'm not having to do the work on. And so anytime you do that, if you follow up, it creates sales. So it's been really cool.
Awesome. And while that may be the most inefficient way to respond to an email using Snapchat, take a picture, if you use AMP, they've got over 2,000 suppliers to choose from, and no customer list is too big. Each email includes 20 fresh posts of inspiration. They use a combination of machine learning and human curation to find the best training content for your clients. And I love this testimonial. Don't take Kirby's word for it. Heck, I wouldn't. Take Kara Keister's word for it from Social Good Promotions. Her quote, in just a few short months, we've seen an increase in click-through purchases made directly from the products presented in the monthly email and better engagement by our clients in advance of upcoming events. AMP has been a big asset in keeping our sales pipeline full. Love that, love that, love that. This has been in beta test. Kara's been part of that. You've been part of that. It is now being released to the unwashed masses. So head over to promopulse.io/AMP, A-M-P. You won't be sorry you did. Again, thanks to Promo Pulse for always pushing and leading the way.
It will amp up your business, baby.
Whoa, yeah. All right, Kirby. So I have the privilege of doing the Promo UPFront topic this week. there's not a lot of like hardcore news going on in the industry. So I thought we'd take a slightly different direction, but keep it very industry specific. Obviously my mind is very much on graduation. As we record this, my children will be graduating in 72 hours.
Wow.
So graduating from high school, excuse me.
That's awesome, man.
It is. I'm real excited about that. And I thought, okay, I'm, let's be honest. Graduation ceremonies are terrible, except for two moments. You want to know who the speaker is, and hopefully they're good. And you want to see your kid's name or hear your kid's name announced. Everything else
successfully.
Is kind of like, everything else is like, eh. But I thought what would be interesting if we could hold a graduation ceremony and pick anyone from the promotional products industry, living or passed away, to speak at that graduation ceremony and what their overall message would be. And so I thought it might be fun if we ping pong back and forth. I can go first if you'd like.
Yeah, sure, you can. And in the interest of transparency, we don't generally share this, but you were kind enough to not drop this on me. So I've had a minute to think about it. So that's good.
Right. I don't know what you're going to bring up, but I did share the topic. All right.
Yeah.
So the first one I came up with was, and it's probably because he's been on my mind. He passed away 3 years ago, earlier this week, Fran Ford. If I could bring Fran Ford, just because he is was such a treasure trove of inspiration. And if you look across the spectrum of promotional products professionals in our industry, he has inspired and mentored so many people. That was the first one that came to my mind, was Fran Ford.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The first one I wrote down, and there were no particular orders, but you know how you do. You just made a list. So the first one I popped in was Danny Rosen.
Yep.
And in my mind, it's like his topic, if you want to, like, I kind of made like titles for what the speech would be.
That's kind of what I did too.
Yeah. So giving back and how for-profits can change the world.
Okay.
And so, because obviously, because he's created nonprofit businesses, but it's one of those where, a for-profit with a business can change the world. So that would be one.
I had Danny Rosen on my list. My thought, what he would want to impart is being part of something greater and making the world a better place through your business. So very similar topics there.
Okay.
The next one I thought of was Janelle Nevins. Again, someone who I knew pretty well when I worked over at Summit. She was a trailblazing woman in the industry. And our industry still is very predominantly male dominated. And once you dial back the clock about 25, 30 years, and it was really male dominated. And this is a woman who wouldn't take no for an answer. And I thought, what a wonderful inspirational speech she could give about not taking no for an answer. So that was one of mine.
So I'll piggyback and do another female. I'm going to go Charity Gibson. So
Good
Charity obviously has done a lot of social media, and she's a pioneer in that way. But what I wrote was true authenticity can lead to success and happiness. I think one of the things that is really endearing about Charity is that she is totally willing she's the one who posts like, I spilled the coffee, I got up early, I set the time for the wrong, and she does it in a really fun and endearing way and kind of makes fun of herself. And I think that is why people love her. And so I think that true authenticity is what kind of shines through.
Another topic she could certainly speak on when I think of Charity, it's how I successfully turned 24 hours into 72 hours, because I don't know how she gets so much done in a day.
That's a good one.
All right. Jason Lukash came to my mind. Jason Lukash, good friend of both of ours. I've known Jason almost 10 years. Good friends. We text and stuff. And I thought he would give a stirring, rousing speech about how to believe in yourself and have just enough FU in your back pocket to use when you need it.
That is such a great, and Lukash, I did not have him on, and that's a really good, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh man, he's a really good speaker too.
He is.
Okay, I'm going to go Nadav Raviv. Nadav is a guy,
great guy.
Yeah, love Nadav. And so what my topic for him was, you can't control everything, but you can control your hustle. I think that's the one thing that, sometimes there's so much about the hustle and grind out there. It's become almost cliche, but in reality, it is the one thing you can control. And I just love Promo Never Sleeps. That's in the doc. So,
well, and he could also give a talk very much. Well, and when I think of him and how I think of him documenting his hustle as opposed to, hey, look at me, I'm working harder than anybody else. Right. To me, I think he's just kind of saying, look, it works.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's a great one. Paul Kiwi. Paul Kiwi made my list, and it's pushing forward. Just make sure you always keep pushing forward. And if you've ever heard Paul speak, he just like everybody else has had challenges in his life, and he has persevered. And I think he has such an inspirational message. You and I know have heard his talk at SKUCon. I think the first or second one, and just amazing. Paul Kiwi.
Yeah, I love the keep pushing forward. I would also say one of his moments, he said in that moment in his talk, he talked about the idea of not letting the situation change him. Yeah. Like in that moment, I remember him saying, in that moment, I want to be kind. Like, how do I do that? And when you start from that place, it changes your forward motion. And so, yeah, Paul's amazing. I'm going to go Catherine Graham.
Okay.
And hers is, you can be both really smart and really kind. Like, I think so many times the smartest people in the room come off as the smartest people in the room. And Catherine certainly is that, but she just always makes me feel very comfortable. Like you know what I mean? And in doing that, I tend to learn more. So that would be my Catherine Graham.
I love that one. That Catherine's great. I knew a Graham would make the list, if not one, if not both. I'm going to go keep it with the females. Brittany David from Snugs. Yeah. And I think I think all of us could learn something from her about poise. I've never seen her, despite all the challenging situations she's been put in, both in the professional world, but also when she was serving on the PPAI board, put in some very difficult positions. I've never seen her lose her cool. I've never seen her lose her composure. She's always poised. And I think that's such a wonderful trait to have when you're in a pressure cooker environment. And let's face it, life is a pressure cooker. So I think her talk on poise, I'd love to hear.
That's a good one. All right. You're going to know the next one. My next one I have on the list is Bill Petrie.
I did not know that.
No, you're going to know the guy. So here would be mine. My theme for your talk: consistency trumps talent. And I don't mean that as a shot.
Did you just call me untalented?
I did not.
I think you just called me untalented.
I did not. But I think that's one of the things that you have trumpeted is the idea that, I might not be the best writer in the world, but I'm showing up. I'm showing up. And I think that's
no one will ever outwork me.
Right. And I think that is actually it goes to the Nadav thing. Just keep showing up. There is an amazing power in that.
Well, and one of mine is Kirby Hasseman, shockingly enough. So I'd love to hear you talk about making sure you retain your joy even through failure. You're a serial entrepreneur, you start businesses and you shut them down when it's time to shut them down, and you never lose focus of maintaining your joy. So I would love to hear a talk on that from you, Kirby Hasseman.
Okay, well, thanks. That was the Kumbaya part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any more?
I have two more, but I'll go with one. So Mark Graham, you said both Grahams. So Mark and Catherine are different individuals, and so I think different skill sets, and that's what makes them work well together. You truly can get everything you want by helping others get what they want. Mark is that connector, and so I think that hearing him speak about that would be interesting.
I love that. Let's have your other one.
Mr. Dana Zezzo. And again, I know Dana's just one of those guys who always pops in my mind. And I was trying to think of his topic, right? And so what I came up with is pushing back against the status quo to create something cool. When he kind of pushed into the social media world, there was a ton of feedback that was talking about, oh, that's never going to help with business. That's a fad. It's never going to last. And he was, his Get Social campaign really changed the way that the whole industry does social. And so pushing
years ahead of his time. So I have one more. I just wanted to add one. CJ Schmidt. I'd love to hear CJ Schmidt talk about taking something that's known and making it your own.
That's a good one.
Grew up in the promotional products business. His family's owned hit promotional products for years. But CJ has really taken it to the next level, and he's done it on his own terms. And I think that's such a wonderful lesson for people, that even if you have a large shadow that's being cast over you, you can still be your own person. So
I love that. That's a really good
one. All right. Fun topic.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, man.
You got a quick topic you want to go through before we go to your product?
Yeah. So it's going to be, this is quick. So I saw a quote this morning. You know how in the morning, I saw this morning. I saw it in the newsletter that I read. It's the Morning Brew, which great newsletter for, actual news. I'm literally scrolling through it. I almost went right by it and I saw this quote and it said, "It's not the office, it's the commute." With the idea that people aren't so opposed to going back to the office. They don't want to deal with the traffic. And and for, in a smaller community, that kind of resonated with me. And so I'm curious to know if, like, for the future of work, and this can be quick, do you agree with that? Do you think that everybody, like, I think what we talk about is, everybody's going to work from home. And I don't know that that's true. I think there are people who still want to go to the office. They want to have that separation. At least I do. And I'm just speaking for me. But I wonder if that means that that offices might move to different locations, like going to a little bit less metropolitan areas, or what. So go.
I think you see more of the I think you'll see more of the hot desk where people book times at the office that are congruent with their lifestyle, but they still get their work done. So they can come and collaborate and do all those sorts of things, but they reserve time in a shared office and they have it at their time. So maybe they work from 10 to 3 on a certain day and they're in the office so they can avoid traffic. I do think, see here, I don't like traffic, but I always liked leaving the office and being able to drive home. It was my time to kind of wash away the day. Maybe it was a frustrating day. Maybe I had some challenges, but I can wash it away and walk in the door and really shift my perspective. I have a hard time doing that at home.
Yeah, me too.
So I think that most people hate the commute. I hate the commute when it's traffic. I hate traffic. I don't hate the commute. So if my commute has no traffic, I'm cool with that. Second, it has traffic, I'm not cool with that. But I think you're going to see a lot more flexibility with organizations, because I would love the option, right? I don't mind working at home. I don't have a lot of distractions here generally, but I would love the option of going into the office a couple of days a week, just to have a different perspective, look at something different, not be so close to my refrigerator and all the other things that you're close to. So that's my perspective on it.
Okay, cool. Like I said, can be quick.
Yep. Well, do you have a topic? Or not, Kirby? I don't care about your topic. Actually, I care about your promotional product. What promotional product are you about to share with us this fine day?
Yeah. So I actually, as you know, as we're recording this is on Wednesday, it was actually Promo Soapbox Day. And so this is a perfect day for me to do this. Had some great meetings. And one of them was with leashables. And one of the products that stood out to me was breath spray. So,
all right.
So it's
ice drops.
Yeah, that's right. So, and it comes with 4 different flavors. They're like $1 depending on quantity. I'm thinking, dude, as trade shows come back, I joked about it the other day. It's like we lose the mask, gain the white strips, right? We got to get our smile back on. And rather than chewing on gum kind of annoyingly to keep your breath fresh, this is a quick, easy, affordable way. I think this is a really cool piece. Like I said, at 500, they're $1.07. At 2,500, they're $1 on a.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think that's a really cool piece that is very functional, very affordable, and certainly appropriate as the world opens back up.
Well, it's one of those things you can toss in your backpack, toss in your purse, kind of have it on you. It's going to last a pretty long time. It's got a bunch of sprays in there. Great branding. Good stuff. All right, Kirby. Let's talk ransomware.
Okay.
So I'm sure you saw the huge shutdown for the Colonial Pipeline. They were hit by a ransomware attack. And this is based off a really great article by the lovely gentleman, Chris Ruva, over at ASI. So we had that ransomware shut down the Colonial Pipeline, which is a pivotal U.S. gas pipeline going from the Houston area to the Northeast. And it was out of commission for a week. It led to a huge run on gas being shortages because people were hoarding, increased fuel prices, and they ended up paying the hacker. Did you see how much they ended up paying the hacker? $4.4 million. And so ransomware is really going up. In 2020, the FBI received almost 2,500 reports of ransomware attacks. That's up 66% from 2019. Wow. That in 2020, companies paid $350 million in ransom. That's 4 times what it was in 2019. So it's definitely on the rise. And I love this. This is an interesting quote. Anthony Kim, who's a partner with a cyber and data innovation firm, said, "The reason why ransomware is exploding is because it's scalable, predictable, and lucrative." And that's a scary thought there. And it has happened in Promo. It has happened in Promo. Remember a couple of years ago, our good pals over at Alpha Broder were hit they were crippled by it in Norm Hollander and the board. They decided to, the demand was $3.2 million. They negotiated it down to about 1.7, 1.8, right around there. And then obviously, if you remember early last December, Bagmakers was hit with a ransomware attack. I'm not sure exactly how that got rectified, but how do we protect ourselves from this stuff? Because it's honestly, it's on the rise. It's scary. And I worry that with our interconnectivity, if it hits one large company, it might impact some of the smaller companies like yours or mine.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I really wish I was smart enough. And I've had the opportunity. I talked with the cyber security, the IT guy at American Solutions for Business. And that was his, they said they're monitoring it all the time.
Right.
And it is one of those things where my natural reaction is like, oh, I just don't even want to think about it. Cause it's almost so overwhelming. So
it's
scary.
overwhelming.
I don't know what to do. And in the interest of transparency, it really does. It's very frightening. And I genuinely feel for those people who go through it, because it's like, what do you do? Like, I truly don't know.
The fact that organizations as large and as powerful as Alpha Broder, as large and powerful as Colonial Pipeline, feel that they have no recourse but to actually cough up the dough scares the absolute crap out of me.
Yeah.
And so really all you can do, I think, is make sure you educate your employees not to open up emails that look like they're phishing. That's PH, not FI.
Yeah.
Make sure you have some backup copies of data. So hopefully you can stay operational, working in the cloud helps. And then I don't cross your fingers, because honestly, I just, there's no real answer, because I mean, companies like Alpha Broder had a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
And still happened to them. So it's just one of those things that, man, the criminals are always one step ahead of law enforcement. It certainly seems to be the case here. And I just
certainly on this.
I thought it was a fascinating thing to think about in our industry. Again, we kind of glossed over that, Alpha Broder got hit by it pretty hard.
Yeah. And, I think it goes back to the idea, we talked about it last week. We were pretty hot to trot on the idea that we need to give each other grace. Man, this is another example. It's really easy to take shots at another organization when something like this happens to them, whether it's, anything like this or even, outside of this idea. Yeah. When it comes and lives at your house, all of a sudden you're like, man, I wish everybody would give me grace. And I think this is an example of, man, just feel for you.
All right, Kirby, you got another topic for us?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go with this one. So we have a case of the dreaded turtle pay, is what I'm going to call it. So we have a client who has worked with us for years, over and over again. They're a very big organization. Okay. Just to give you a sense. And, we hear from them, and you get an order, and it's generally a nice business, right? On the front end. And then you deliver, and then you send the invoice, and it just takes forever. And the first time it happens to you, you're like, okay, that's probably on me. I should have gotten a PO. I shouldn't have got this. I should have got this. And so as the time has gone by, we've tried to refine that, because we didn't want to send the business down the road, but it's like, gosh, guys, we need you to pay. And so this most recent time, we felt like we did everything right. We got estimates in advance, shipping, we got a PO, we did all that stuff. And they were still months and months to pay. And every time that happens, I'll be honest, I'm like, okay, never again. So they reached out again, literally this week. Hey, we want ideas for this. And the salesperson reached out to me, and it is like, what do you want me to do with this? And I struggle to say no. So I want Bill's advice. I know what I'm doing with it, but I sort of want your take on it about the situation.
So they're a long-term client, and they're slow to pay, but they end up paying finally, generally.
Months later.
I would follow through with the sales process as you normally do. When it's time for them to issue a PO to them, I would insist on prepay, and I would explain why. I'd say, I hate to do this, but due to the payment history, we're going to have to ask for a prepayment here, or at least a partial prepayment. and that's where I'd stick to my guns. I treat them with respect. And I think going through the process is treating them with respect, and then just explaining, we're a small business. And when you hold out like that, it really does impact our cash flow. And unfortunately, we've really let this go. We've changed our policy. And unfortunately, until you really commit to paying within the terms we described, we're going to have to put you on a prepay. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And so I figured we would land on the same deal, but it is so frustrating because you're like, okay, you feel like there are some folks who pay slow because maybe they're another small organization and they're struggling, and hey, I will get you a little bit each week or whatever. Right. And I tend to be pretty cool with that because I've sat in that seat before. But with this, it's like there just goes time where, I'll get that to this person. I'll get to this person. It just feels like they're putting you off, and that's where it gets frustrating.
I think when your spidey sense is generally correct.
Yeah.
So this is where you got to call them on the carpet on it. And I would even tell them, look, we're being a good partner here, rather than us being frustrated because things are happening in your organization. We're just setting the parameters up front.
Yeah.
And let them decide what they do. Let them make the call.
Right. I like it. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. We're about to go to the game. Before we do, I just want to give a public service announcement from Kirby and I. Hey, just because you don't understand the global supply chain distributors, stop screaming at suppliers. They know they're out of stock. They feel bad about it. Yelling at them doesn't make the stock magically appear. Okay? Okay. Kirby, let's go to the game. Oh, that was our public service announcement. I'm Bill Petrie, and I approve that message.
We need to do that every week, I think, now. So that's good. I'm excited about the game. I had a whole game planned out, and I scrapped it at the last second.
Oh, why? What?
Because I like this one better. So
wow. Okay, so let's game it up.
So, well, because I had a whole thing, the theme was around food, and I was like, what does Bill like better than food? And I was like, shoes and his kids and music. And so I landed on music. So we're going to go.
Let's do it.
I love either or, right? Like that's always my favorite. So we're going to do an either or game on the best hair bands of all time. And I want you're going to choose between. There is no wrong answer. If you want to expound upon it, feel free. And
let's do it.
There's only 8, so it won't take very long. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
Cinderella or Rat?
Oh, Rat for days. Now, I do have a big appreciation for Tom Kiefer, his voice in Cinderella, but the songs for Rat they just bring me back more to my youth. Cinderella was more a true hair band. Rat was more of a kind of a guttery band. So
Rat. Love
gotta
it.
go with Rat.
That's a good call on that one. I agree with that one. Kiss or Motley Crue?
Oh, Motley Crue for days. I love Kiss. But they were a hair band part of their time. They've been everything, and so I'm going to go Motley Crue. I've got my Too Fast for Love album right up there, which everybody's probably now disturbed by. But yeah, Motley Crue. Okay, you're 2 for 2 in my book. I mean, again, it's your call. But Slaughter or Striper? Oh man. We're number 3 and you're already at the bottom of the barrel.
I was moving around. I didn't want them all to be like.
I'm going to go with the yellow and black attack of Striper, slightly reluctantly. I will tell you they had really, really skilled musicians in their band. I have a hard time watching those bumblebees bounce around the stage because they are all yellow and black. But you got to give props to the first heavy metal Christian band. So let's go with Striper.
Okay. LA Guns or Faster Pussycat?
Oh, LA Guns. Yeah. LA Guns. Yeah, one of the original Tracy Guns, one of the actual original founders of Guns N' Roses, him and Axl Rose.
Okay.
So, Tracy, LA Guns.
Poison or Winger?
Man. See, these are hair bands if Van or not a hair band.
Back up. You cut out for a second. What did you just say?
I said, if Van Halen is in this list, we are done doing this podcast because they are not a hair band.
Okay. What did you say right before that?
I don't remember.
Okay. So.
I didn't answer the question. I didn't answer
Poison or Winger?
Poison or Winger. I just said, you're scraping you're getting the really cheesy hair bands, the real cheesy bands. I'm gonna have to go Poison.
This is easy.
Did anyone epitomize the true era of hair metal, which is like 1986 to 91, better than Poison? Nope.
Yeah, no, I actually really liked Poison. And Winger, you can't have a lead singer who's a bass player. All right, Guns N' Roses or Quiet Riot?
Guns N' Roses is not a hair band. Neither was Quiet Riot, but we're going to probably have to go with Guns N' Roses. They had a brief period where the hair was spiked up in 86.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Guns N' Roses is still one of my favorite albums of all time, is Appetite for Destruction. So,
but not a hair band.
Twisted Sister or Bon Jovi?
Ooh, I mean, the easy choice is Bon Jovi, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Twisted Sister. Let's go with Bon Jovi. I mean, with their success, their longevity, I don't want to be living on a prayer. Let's go Bon Jovi.
Okay. Final one, Skid Row or Van Halen?
Okay, guys, everybody enjoy. This is the final Promo UPFront podcast. I am your host, signing off for the last time. But before I do, let's give thanks to our sponsor, our good pals over at AMP, powered by Promo Pulse. That's right. You can send beautiful and user-friendly emails to your customers using content from your preferred suppliers. It's super easy, like 5 minutes easy. You can set it, forget it. It's customized. It has your logo. You can put your landing page on there. Kirby's using it. Kara Keister over at Social Good Promotions is using it, and they're using it to great success to drive business. And that's really what it's all about. So if you want to learn more, and gosh darn it, why wouldn't you head over to promopulse.io/AMP, A-M-P. And again, want to thank everybody for listening to our 46 episodes. I don't know what we're doing next week, but it sure as hell is in this podcast, because Van Halen is not a hair band.
So Skid Row then?